So in the 1960s, President Kennedy had an initiative he set forth where he wanted an underground-style bunker to serve as a state operations center in every state in the country. And because he was from Massachusetts, we were the first. And we ended up being the only that was built due to the fact that in 1963, the president was assassinated. However, in the time before that, we were directed to set up an underground bunker state emergency operations center. We're 42 feet underground, we're surrounded by steel reinforced concrete, and we're in Framingham, Massachusetts because we're close enough to the state capital of Boston to allow an easy drive here if in the event that Boston had to be evacuated, but we're far enough away that if Boston were attacked, the impacts would be minimally felt here. So Framingham was an ideal location. While we're here, I wanted to point out the letter that was sent to us by President Kennedy. He was invited to our dedication in November of 1963, and he signed the letter on November 22nd, 1963 is the date that was marked on it when it was sent up to us. And of course, that date is a very important and sad date in the history of our country, and it was the date of the president's assassination. So there's a lot of history and a lot of ties to President Kennedy here that we hold near and dear to ourselves. The shovel over my left shoulder was one of the groundbreaking shovels that was used back in the early 1960s to begin construction of this building, and it's been in that cabinet, I think, ever since. Prior to the bunker being here, our former Civil Defense Agency headquarters was down the street on Speen Street in Natick, Massachusetts, and it's on the site of the current National Guard Readiness Center, and that was our first Civil Defense Agency headquarters. And we've seen articles from the 1960s that pointed out flaws in that building because there were too many windows, and that if there was ever an attack on the country, the windows would fail and the building would be rendered useless. So this building was a huge improvement for us in 1963 and allowed us to have that robust, secure facility to respond to natural or man-made disasters across the state.